Right, this is my first blog for 2018 then. I've not done any blogging for a while now. But we're back on Spitfire Pool, which is in Norfolk, a venue that I fished last year when I caught a couple of 30-pounders, and I'm really excited to be down here because I've got 2 trips booked this year. I've got this trip which is in the first week of April. I've got 5 nights on the water, and I'm back not next week but the week after for 4 nights. So all being well, I'm going to get lucky and catch something nice from here because there are some really special carp to be caught from here, as we know. There's only 12 or 13 fish in here, but there's a couple of really big commons, one over 50 pounds and another one about 48, as well as some really decent fish into the sort of mid to upper 30s as well. So, but they're all gems. I'm just hoping that I can get one of them because it is really sort of bitter at the moment. Spring's been very delayed getting into the country, as we all know, with the beast from the east, etc. And whilst I've been down here, there's been a really bitterly cold wind blowing, and there was a bit of frost on the ground when I arrived, and I even drove through some snow getting down here. So it's going to be pretty tough, but I'm excited and I'm really optimistic that things are going to go according to plan, and hopefully I can just get 1, possibly 2 fish if I'm lucky. I've not been here very long, but already I've noticed that the lake is massively different to when I arrived this time last year. You know, when I arrived last year, there was quite a lot of fish on show, there was quite a lot of weed about, the lake was looking quite green as well. And this year there's hardly any greenery around at all. The willows are just starting to sort of turn yellowy, and the water level's really high. There's probably about a foot more water on the lake, which is sort of hiding a lot of the weed. You can't really see where the main weed beds are. And the banks are really mushy as well. There's been quite a lot of rainfall over the last few days prior to me coming here, so it's a completely different prospect. Although it's only a small lake, it probably looks quite easy to people who've never been here, and you think that probably the location's going to be quite easy, and you know the fishing's going to be quite simple as well. But from talking to the owner, Rich, it fished really hard last year. Back ends, there was quite a few really well-known anglers on the water, including Ian Poole and a few lads who fish on Burfield and that. And all autumn and the back end of summer, it only produced 2 fish. So that gives you an indication of the kind of fishing that you've got on offer here. It's not easy. We are in the spring now, when it tends to be a little bit easier than other times of the year, but you know, I'm optimistic, and I've got to approach you with a completely different outlook compared to last year, because when I arrived last year I could see where the fish were. I could sort of pinpoint where they were sort of mooching through the weed, and the clearer areas were easy to see as well because there was not much ripple on the water, whereas this year there's quite a big ripple on there, so it's hard to sort of climb any trees and look down into the water and see where the clear areas are, because as I say, there's an extra bit of water. So it's going to be a different approach, and probably what I'm going to do to start with is just put some bags on, just put some little pop-ups or critically balanced hook baits on, and just bang those bags right into the weed and hope that we drop on where the fish are. So that's where I'm going to start, and we're just going to sort of persevere from there and take every day as it comes, and see if we need to change the tactics accordingly.
Rich. Oh, cheers, dude. Come just at the right time.
I see you over there.
Cheers, mate. Is it? They're all good as mate.
Yeah, that's nice like that. Do you want me to press record?
It's all, I've already pressed record.
Wicked.
Mate. Yeah.
Go for it. It looks lovely.
Cool, yeah, just watching the chase, having my dinner. Thinking it looks good for a bite, and just got the first one of the session, and it's a fish that's called Joe's fish, which apparently has not been caught for about 18 months. I think Ian Paul was the last person to catch it, and Rich was only telling me about 2 hours ago that this fish has been looking big in the water, and he's right as well, because it's weighed in at 38 pounds. Myself and Rich have just weighed it, and yeah, mega chuffed. Let's have a quick look at him. You're definitely right, Rich.
Nice pucker.
What a beautiful carp, mate. Absolutely beautiful carp. Been seeing the long common showing earlier on, and this fish has just come from the same area where I saw it earlier. And I actually thought it was this fish as I was playing it, because it came to the surface straight away, and I saw this big dorsal, and that's what we tend to see with the long common, the big dorsal sticking up, and when it got closer I could see it was a mirror. But either way, I'm just mega chuffed to get another one of these Spitfire Pool beauties. You happy with those? Yeah?
Yeah, puck.
Yeah, puck away, yeah. Right, let's get it back then, mate, yeah. Well, here we are then, the start of my second visit of the year, and I must say it's a completely different water to the one that I was at a couple of weeks ago. We've finally got rid of that bitterly cold wind that was blowing across the lake. We've also got rid of the overcast conditions, and yet high in the sky at the moment, as you can see, I do believe that could be the sun. So maybe this is the start of the 2018 spring arriving. So, you know, hopefully it could be a good week for me. Now, conditions are looking pretty good for the next 6 days according to the forecast. It's supposed to reach sort of 23, 24 degrees during the latter half of the week. Now, unfortunately, I can't do the full 6 days of the booking. I've got to go away to London over the weekend, but I am down here for 4 days. So I'm really excited to be here because, according to Rich, the owner, last week the lads that were on the venue, they got quite a few sightings of the wood common up close. So he is active, he is patrolling the margins, and based on last year when I said that when the sun comes out, so do the carp. Even if I don't get a chance to catch that special fish, just to see it in the water would be a major highlight for me. But what we'll do to start with is we'll take a look at the spots that I'm probably going to start fishing during the course of the next 4 days. I'm going to rove the rods about. I always tend to do that when I'm down here, but I've got a few sort of ideas in the back of my mind of where we're going to start things. So let's have a look at those spots. First rod to go out then is my right hander, which I've cast towards the middle of this bay here to the right. That's gone down with a lovely old donk, and as I've counted the lead down, it's probably about 5 or 6 foot in depth. Now all I've done with that rod is cast out a single hook bait and scattered about half a dozen or so free offerings in the area. There's currently a couple of fish coming in and out of this bay just below the surface, so that one's definitely looking good for a bite. The middle rod, that one's gone a lot closer in. It's gone probably about 2 rod lengths out, just in front of these reeds here where it's nice and clear. It's probably about 4 or 5 foot in depth here, and it's an area that's known for producing the wood common. It's the same spot where Terry Hearn caught it from a few years ago. It's also the same spot that the lads last week saw the wood common upending and having a feed. So all I've done with that rod is, again, like the right hander, just cast out a single hook bait and scattered half a dozen or so free offerings in the area. The left hand rod, This one's on a completely different approach. With this one, what I've decided to do is put a PVA bag on. I've got some crumbed free offerings in there, I've got some hole free offerings, and I've got a critically balanced hook bait as well. And with this one, all I've done is decided to cast it roughly about 30 yards out, directly into the thick weed bed that's out in front. There's always fish going around these weed beds. They're cruising in the upper layers as well as down on the bottom, and I know at some stage during the course of the next few days something will come across it. So basically that's the 3 rods. I will chop and change things according to the state of play and how things go, but basically all that's left for me to do now is to sit back, put the kettle on and let the fish do their bit. Right then, we've had a look at what the fish are hopefully going to be eating tonight. So what about myself? Well, we've got some whole grain rice in there, and we've also got some mixed vegetables. We've got some chopped up potatoes, chopped up carrots and chopped up broccoli. That's all fresh stuff that I've bought from Morrison's, and all I've done to chop it all up is just get one of those Nash plates out and chop it on there. And all I'm going to do is drain off the water when that's all boiled, and then mix in some flavourings. And tonight we're going to have some Uncle Ben's chili con carne sauce, and we're also going to have half a tin of baked beans. So it's a little bit different to what most carp anglers eat when they're on the bank. They tend to go for sausages, bacon, eggs and that, but I do a lot of running and I do a lot of marathon running and that, and so what I need to do is eat quite a lot of fresh vegetables and carbohydrates and stuff, and it's not just going to be on the menu tonight, it's probably going to be on the menu tomorrow, the next day and the next day as well. So pretty boring, but it keeps me going. Right, I've been watching the water for the last hour or so, and there's definitely been a couple of fish coming into this bay during the course of the last 20 minutes or so. They seem to sort of drift into it and then disappear and then come back again. So when they've disappeared, I've reeled in one of my rods and I've just chucked a single hook bait to where they've been spending most of the time when they're in this bay, and hopefully they're going to return. And I've just put that rod just round to the right of where I'm actually fishing, and it's on a bowstring tight line because it's over quite a bit of distance, and it's just on a single scopex squid. So hopefully they'll come back at some point and we might get one. Well, I've just seen a fish move and I've put a bait right on it, and literally within a minute it's gone. And what we've got is an absolutely beautiful scaly mirror that has just weighed in at 28 pounds. That is absolutely gorgeous, it really is. And like my first trip, it's come on a Tuesday on the second day. I think actually on my first trip last year I caught on my first day on the first trip, and then on the second trip I also caught on the Tuesday. So there's something about Tuesdays in this lake at the moment. That's absolutely stunning though. Like always, the rig that I'm using this week is very simple. It's not much different to the rigs that I use in other venues. And what we've got is a simple lead clip system. Got quite a heavy lead on there, but I'm a fan of heavy leads. That's a 3-ouncer. Then we've got a short 6-inch braided hook link with all of the outer coating removed. And that is knotless knotted and then liner lined to a size 6 Fang X pinpoint hook. And then to finish the rig off, just got a simple 15mm scopex squid wafter. That long common is an absolute piss taker. He swims along and waves his tail at you right over the top of your bait. He's been doing it all day. He's like a lawnmower going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. God, I'd love to catch him, I really would. don't think I need to say much about this fish, other than it's called Bellini. I've had 2 good trips down here again this year. I had that trip at the beginning of April which resulted in the fish called Joe's fish at £38, and then I've been back again on this occasion for 4 nights, and I've ended up with 2 fish. You know, whenever I come down here I just want to get 1 bite, but I've ended up with 2, so I'm proper made up about that. And all that's left for me to do now is to get packed up in the morning, have a good night's sleep tonight, because there's probably very little that's going to happen on the rods tonight. There is a chance in the morning up until 10 o'clock when I've got to leave the lake, but I've loved it down here. Thanks to Rich for inviting me back down again, and I hope you'll invite me again next year, Rich, because I really do love this place. And I hope you guys will join me again in 2019 when I return again to Spitfire Pool. Thanks for watching.